Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again to the fastest podcast on the airwaves. Today, it's the Cat's Corner podcast with your host, the three-time world karate champion, WCW legend, and WWE legend, and Academy Award nominated film actor, Mr. Ernest D. Cat Miller. I am your co-host, Ray W. Keziah, aka Big Shug, manager of future Hall of Famers. And we have a special guest today. But before we get to that, how about a word from our sponsor?
We're Resite. Of course, we offer all-inclusive site work. We're Resite. Of course, we have a dynamic site crew. We're Resite. We have secure foundations. We're Resite. Of course, we're good stewards. Resite redefines the way site work is done. Contact us at resite.com. It's re-site.com.
Gotta love Recite, brother. How you doing today, Mr. Cat?
Listen, man, I'm doing great. How about you, Big Ray?
Man, we are loving the life over here in North Carolina. Got a little rain today, which we needed. But we got a special guest today. I know you're pretty excited.
Bro, we don't have to go right into the guests. We could just talk about, find out how you're doing and what's going on in your life.
Man, I'm just living, man. Just living, bro. Just trying to watch a little wrestling tonight.
That's what. Oh, so did you watch anything Monday night?
Watched it all Monday night. Didn't watch last night. NXT, I did get the recap, but I didn't watch the show. I know what happened, but we can get to that at a later date. But got AEW's tonight to set up for full gear.
But what happened? I mean, anything happened exciting on WWE Monday?
Just setting up Survivor Series, getting the girls' teams lined out, and trying to figure out who the fifth member of the original bloodline is going to be. Blah blah blah. It's you know how that stuff is when they're setting up the go home shows for the pay-per-view.
Listen, next week, that next episode gonna be about my top 5 wrestlers and your top 5, the best wrestlers for you.
You talking about overall or
overall?
Right now?
No, I mean overall, anytime.
You mean all time?
All time, the greatest, the best for you. I want to put my 5 out there against your 5. And we'll go head to head.
And it'll be like our little Survivor Series.
That's what we're going to do. So, But listen, today, man, you know, people know I'm a pro wrestler. Worked with WCW, WWE. I've worked around a lot of major superstars. Hulk Hogan, Sting, Macho Man, The Rock, Stone Cold. I worked with them. Bro, can I finish, man?
I'm just doing with it. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I've worked with all these great stars, but karate is my life. That's something I love to do. And like I told you, people ask me, how did I get started? Because I saw Bruce Lee kicking people in the head, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to kick. I wanted to punch. I wanted to do all this. So I really got heavy into martial arts. But through the time I spend in martial arts, man, I got to see some very talented, athletic, mean fighters, bad fighters. You know, I can call out a few of them: Jerry Rome, Bill Wallace, even Chuck Norris. Mm-hmm. But you know, it was one particular guy that I met back in the day. His name was Rick Roufus.
I didn't know about Rick the Jet Roufus.
Bro, we don't need to play. This is serious stuff. You don't need to bite off me like that. Let me finish saying what I'm saying. You ain't got to dig. I don't need your help. I'm good at this, okay? So, Rick Roufus. And when I first heard of Rick Roufus, it was because at that time I was teaching karate. And karate was growing, man. Kickboxing and everything. Somebody said, you need to see this young guy's name, Rick Roufus. And I was like, what's so good about this guy? Nobody could tell me. So they said he got a fight on tonight. I think it was on HBO. Bro, let me tell you something. Watching him fight in the ring like that, let me tell you this right here. It was the most exciting thing I've ever seen in my life. This guy could punch. He had hands like a boxer. I mean, hands like a boxer. You had the old guys like Chuck Norris, Bill Wallace. I mean, Bill Superfoot Wallace had a good front round kick. He had a good hook, one good hook. And that right there made him, I mean, could nobody beat him because he had some sort of handwork. But when I saw this guy, man, there was a guy who boxed like a boxer, who moved like Muhammad Ali in the ring, who kicked like, oh man, he could do all that sighting kicks, spinning kicks. He could do the high kicks, the low kick. This dude was smart, man. He was like a professor in the ring. And I got to watch this guy, man, when I left there. And this guy, a few years younger than me, I was already a kind of an established black belt in karate, the world tournament. And I fought a little ISKA, amateur fighting. So I was already established as a big name in that. But when I saw this guy, man, he recreated in my mind and head what karate was all about and why I wanted to do more karate than boxing. We talked about boxing before, the Golden Gloves and stuff like that. I was great at that.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to put both of them together. I wanted to be able to kick and punch and move like a boxer and kick like a karate man. Now, this guy, Rick Roufus, man, once I saw this guy fight, man, I was like, the first thing I wanted to do to meet this guy. And it was just so happened the guy, he lived in Atlanta. So with him living in Atlanta, man, it was just, bro, it was just an awesome thing that I got to meet this guy. And we became friends. But this guy right here was deadly in the ring. Deadly. The guys you guys see today that y'all think so pretty. The guy, did you see the UFC fight the other night?
Of course I did.
Did you see what the guy won with? How he finished the guy?
That spinning back heel kick.
A spinning back kick.
Kicked him right in the daggone ribs.
And listen, everybody going crazy over that. First of all, that was slow. I would have seen that thing a mile away. If he was kicking at somebody who knew what to do once they saw that spotted, it would never work. That kick would never work. First of all, it was too far away. His head was too far away from the target.
Well, you're going to have to talk to Michael Jahai White on that because he's the
I
one.
know, bro, but let's not bring Mike up. Mike
I'm just saying he's the one that helped him with that kick.
Mike had nothing to do with that kick.
Yes, he did.
Mike, bro, I know Mike. I'm
telling you, I watched a training video with him and John Bones Jones on it.
See, there you go. There you go. If that man was, let me tell you, he was already a champion, right? When him and Mike were working together.
Obviously, yeah, because ain't nobody beat him.
Okay then. So he knew what a spinning back kick would do anyway. Don't believe what you see on the internet all the time, Big Ray. Let me tell you. Let me talk about this. Yeah, that's my boy. I talked to him today anyway.
All right.
But Rick Roufus, you got to see some of his fight using that same kick. Rick used to do a 360 spin jump and hit people and knock them out with that.
Oh, yeah.
Rick Roufus used to jump back and kick him in the back of the head.
Ooh.
And he's on the front side. And then he had this beautiful technique where he carried his hand real high in his face. And the guy would swing at him and he'll go with that front hand, just knock the guy out. And he was the first guy to tell me how to use a kick that I knew how to use, but he told me how to use it to knock somebody's head off. It was called a flip kick. You get the kick up and bring it down over the shoulder to the chin. And I was like, how is he knocking guys out like that with these kicks? Because he can hit a target. But this guy right here, man, I mean, he's a champion. He was a boxing champion. He did, you know what I mean? He boxed about, let me see. He had 13 fights. 13 fights or maybe more. He had
19. He had 19 total fights with 13 wins, 11 by knockout, 5 losses and 1 draw.
He had a kickboxing record of 77 fights.
Yep. 65 of those were wins.
77 fights.
Yeah.
Now, hold on. I want you to do your math in a few minutes. Then he had mixed martial art.
Yep.
That's the dangerous stuff. Listen, that's the dangerous stuff. He had 10 of those fights. Yep. Now, do the math. Add up all the fights.
Well, that would be 9,706 total fights.
This dude had 106 fights, hard fights. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I'm talking about. He could do all. Listen, you didn't hear about Rick Rufus riding in the car. Police pulled him over after kicking his wife's ass, or beating some woman, or doing something bad, or drinking. You didn't hear that about Rick.
That's right. He was the right kind of
You didn't
guy.
hear that. Rick, no, that's a martial artist.
Yeah.
This guy was a true martial artist. He lived the right way. He did things the right way. He was a
Mind, body, and
giver.
spirit. Yeah.
He was a giver. But when he got in that ring, when he started talking boxing, kickboxing, and bro, he did something that nobody, he was the first one to do this. He was the first one to do this. What he did was he challenged anybody in the ring. You never, ever used to see leg kicks. We never, there wasn't a bunch of Muay Thai guys over here, the Thai fighter with the leg kicks. Bro, Rick Rufus got in the ring with anybody. And not only anybody, Rick Rufus was number one. He was a champion. And I think they took him to Vegas. He'll tell the story. I think they took him to Vegas and said, we just trying this out. We want to see what a kickboxer could do against a Muay Thai guy that can kick legs with some different rules. They had different rules. And bro, let me tell you something. First couple of rounds, Rick was banging this guy. And this guy right here, when I said a Muay Thai fighter, he wasn't just a fighter. I think he was ranked in the top 1, 2, or 3 from Thailand. He was one of the top fighters. Man, this guy right here, when got in the ring, him and Rick started going up. Rick was moving around like a ballet dancer, sweet. The guy didn't know what to do. He never seen people with sweet feet like that. Then when Rick hit him with those bombs, boom, 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 down go the Thai.
Down goes the tie.
Down go the Thai. But guess what the Thai guy did?
What? What he did?
He had hard too. This
He got
dude
up?
got back up. He got back up. And Rick in the corner, Rick do what a fighter was supposed to do. Rick look at him straight in the eyes. He'd have sucked the wind out this guy. Rick went at him to finish him off. Rick hit him with a 1-2. And guess what the Thai did? Down go the Thai. One more time. He went down again. And Rick looked at him. That guy did what? He got right back up.
Goodness gracious.
And the Thai guy started seeing something on Rick. He started seeing how Rick was moving away from his kicks. Rick was slowing down a little bit to throw his power. So the Thai guy cooked up something in this corner. And the trainer told him, go for the legs, kick the legs. Man, this guy was throwing kicks from hell at Rick Rufus' leg. And what Rick wasn't doing at that time, and I don't know if anybody told him, but he wasn't checking the kicks. He wasn't lifting the leg, checking the kick. He was moving away from the kick because he was so swift, so smooth. He just glided across the ring. But later on in that third round, Rick started showing pain. The legs started going, man. I don't know. You guys don't know what it feels like, but I'd have been leg kicked before. And that crap hurt for days. Man, listen, let me tell you something. He hit Rick with that leg. Rick started ducking away from that leg, trying to get away from that kick. But this guy he could hit a target with the kicks. Wherever Rick carry his legs, this guy came to get him. And he was kicking Rick's legs, man, till Rick looked like it was no hope. There was no hope for him, man. This thing was about over. He hit Rick one time. Rick went down. Rick went down, flat down, too, just from the pain of the leg kicks. But guess what Rick did?
I hope he got up.
He didn't just get up. He rose up. He rose up and stood up straight and nodded to it and looked at his corner and shook his head, said, I'm all right. And went right back into battle. But by then, Rick had some Mike Tyson legs like Mike had in his fight.
Man, don't do it like that.
It wasn't much there. It wasn't much there because the pain was there, man. Now Rick had to tune in. He had to tune in and zone in to not what he could do, but just block the pain out. it's something about that in martial art that they teach you.
Yeah, never give up.
You don't give up. No, you don't give up. You don't let the pain convince you to do something. You
Right.
control the pain. Just because I'm hurt and I want to give up, I'm moving forward.
What do they
Shut up,
say?
Ray.
Pain is weakness leaving the body.
That's what it is. It had left Rick Rufus' body. Got the legs were gone, man. And now I'm looking at my guy. I'm looking at the guy I look up to.
Right.
This fight was so good. I was looking so good. I was looking back and forth. I look over at the Thai fighter. He was looking Rick straight in the eyes. I was looking at Rick. Rick was shaking his leg, but they were locked in.
Right.
Eye contact. Neither one of them were gonna bow down. Man, that fight, let me tell you something. That was one of the best fights I ever seen. And it wasn't, Rick had no business in there, first of all. Because Rick is an upcoming superstar, and here he'll look like the guy gonna kick his kneecaps off. Because this guy was just kicking at anything. This guy had to kick because he know if he let Rick settle down, Rick
Them
was gonna
hands is
knock
gonna
his
put him to
head
sleep.
out. The hands of one of those kicks were gonna put him to sleep. So it was a great fight, man. And you know, Rick had many fights like that, man. Wait till you hear about some of the superstars he fought, man.
Well,
So
let's
you know,
let
let's bring
let's
him
bring
in.
him on. Let's bring him on. Rick, the Jet Rufus. Welcome to the Cat's Corner podcast, sir.
Good afternoon, guys. How are you?
Man,
I'm
we are
good, Big
blessed to have
Rick.
you.
Thank you very much for taking the time to have me on your show today. I really am grateful. I appreciate it, and I've been looking forward to it, especially because Ernest, my guy, we've known each other. Geez, probably I moved to Atlanta like '92. Yeah, and Ernest and I hit it off right away.
Listen, Rick, I just want to tell you, man, I've been a big fan of yours for years. For
Thank
years. But it was hard to say that because we were such good friends too.
you.
You know, we
I
used
know.
to hang out.
I
Hey,
know.
we used to hang out. I mean, we were young. We used to hang out. And Rick was like a no-nonsense guy. I used like to play and joke. He was a real clean cut, good-looking killer. And he didn't play with nobody. I'm gonna tell you, we went to a club one night. Rick and I and this guy, we got another friend, Dr. Lewis. We went to a club, and the name of the club was Tongue and Groove. And
I've been there.
I had just started making a little money. You know, it was my first year in WCW. You know, so I had that good WC money, that good WCW money. So I had to go, and I remember I had just bought this shirt, man. I think it was a Gucci shirt. It was about $1,500. So I had that shirt on. So we get to the club, B Rick, and we stand at the bar, and all these girls around us just looking at us. We just cooling out. Everybody knew who I was. Of course, they knew who Rick was. Our doctor friend, didn't nobody know him. but so we stand at the bar. Neither one of us really drink. I don't drink. I don't think Rick, you didn't drink either, did you? So Rick, yeah, but Rick, we was just standing at the bar because that's where all the girls was at. And I had my back talking to a girl. First, I had my back to the bar, and Rick was in front of me and Dr. Lewis. And we were just talking, and some crazy guy behind me started talking smack. He bumped into me, and I turned around and I looked at him. I just looked at him. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I said, "Oh, it's okay. It's all right." So I turned back around, started talking to the girl. And Rick did not take his eyes off of that guy. He was looking over my shoulder, looking at the guy. So I'm talking to the girl, and Rick's staring at me, but I know he's looking over my shoulder at the guy behind me. And the guy bumped me again. So I turned around, and he said, "No, he didn't bump me again." The guy started talking loud. He said, "I don't care who he is." I told him, "I'm sorry." He got loud, and I wasn't saying anything. And Rick had this mean stare like he would go, he waiting to do something to this guy. See, I've been sued before. I got sued before. So I knew I was not going to do anything, and I wasn't going to let Rick do anything. But Rick said, Ernest, hit that wheel. I'm going to hit him. I said, Rick. He said, "Boy, I'll knock his head off." He was talking, I'll knock his head off. Hit him. So I said, Rick, calm down, man. First of all, all these girls here, you think I want to be out here fighting? This is a $1,500 shirt. You think I want to fight in this damn shirt? Rick said, man, knock this guy out. But anyway, that's how Rick was, man. Rick was like one of the boys, and people gave him a lot of respect, Rick. And I want you to see, Rick, how old were you when you started karate?
4 years old. I started fighting my first point karate tournament in 1974, mini Pee Wee. I was fighting in Milwaukee, where I was from. I ended up fighting a black belt at nighttime finals. Ended up fighting at the high school where I ended up going to high school at Pius 11. I blitzed this guy, and that's when they had the old safety punch, a white one that was round. I remember he stepped back because he's a black belt, threw a spinning hook kick. I remember looking up at the ceiling at Pius High School. I was like, what happened?
Oh,
I got hit.
Wow.
I got hit with the spinning hook kick. He got disqualified. I ended up winning first place. And it was like ice cream. Never got enough of it. So I love it. I love ice cream.
So your dad
yes,
was
my father is responsible for all my success. He's the one that put so much time and effort into me. And he spent, we did endless training of drills. We started with newspaper. Then when newspaper, we graduated to x-ray paper, graduated from x-ray paper to punching mitts. So it was, I am who I am because of him.
He was the referee, correct?
Actually, back in the day, he was the PK fight sanction chairman. Yes, he did some refereeing, but he also worked for the PK back in the 80s with Joe Corley.
Awesome.
So Rick, now you in tournament fighting, which is great, and you had to move from tournament fighting to kickboxing or boxing. Where did you go from tournament fighting?
The 80s, I was in the Grand Slam tour, and during that time was to me the most elite time. That time that I came through was some of the best fighters, and God rest his soul, Steve Nasty Anderson, Rain McCallum, Keith Vitale, so on. And every place you went, California, you knew it was going to be blitz off the line. Yeah. You knew Chicago, groin capital world, cover your groin because they're going to go after it. You knew in the South.
This sports karate too, right? You talking about you still doing the tournament stuff, right? This not the professional fight.
So so everywhere I went, it was preparing me to get in the ring because I was getting to see different styles. Because you're not going to fight the same fighter every fight that you have. So it helped me to see all different, everyone has a different style. And going around the United States helped me adapt to different styles people had, which made getting in the ring with boxing and getting ready for a fight a little easier because I already had experience.
Now, how old were you then when you started? Like your very first professional fight? How old were you?
1984 in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which I was 18.
And who set that up? What did you have?
It was with John Worley, Larry Carnan, Pat Worley in Minneapolis when they used to promote. It was called Super Fights. I fought a guy. I can't tell you. I can remember his name was Ken Parr, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
And you won that fight, right?
Yep.
You had to be one of the youngest guys to ever win a professional fight, right?
Or one of the youngest to win a belt, 20.
Okay, all right. So we checked both of those there.
I won that belt when I fought John McCall right in Atlanta in 1987, when Rome fought Hefton.
Oh, I was there. I was
Yep.
there, man.
Yep.
That was a. You know what? I do
And I
remember
fought a
that
guy
now.
named Tony Smith.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I take that back. That was 86. I fought Tony Smith. 87. I fought John McCall. Yes.
Yeah,
And
for the world title.
now,
Yep.
who was the promoter? I
That
know
was
Joe
Joe.
Corlin.
Joe
I
and
mean,
Jim. That was Joe and Jim Abernathy Sports.
oh yeah. So were you
Yes.
treated really good? You were treated really good then?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they always were good. Yes.
Oh, good, man. That's good, man. And first of all, I want to go back. What moved you to like get into karate? What made you just say, I want to go find a class? Was it your father because he was, because I look at
I was going with my father. My father started at a at a taekwondo school, Dukan Yun in Milwaukee, and I started following and doing. I just loved it. It was like I loved the challenge. It was the challenge. It was. I just, and then my father also branched out. He went to Kempo. He got a black belt in Kempo. I also learned Kempo. My thing, though, right from the get-go, not gonna lie, he put me in. My dad was smart. Most of the Russians either go dance or play soccer. I went from. I played a lot of soccer. That eye-hand coordination, eye-foot. It was very good with the footwork. Did junior Olympic boxing, did a lot of point karate. And then when I got was old enough, 16, I did ABF, which is Amateur Boxing Federation, Golden Gloves.
wow, yeah.
And then at 18, I turned pro or made made my debut in Minneapolis in August of '84.
You know, it usually take a while to get a black belt.
Correct.
I want to ask you a question.
Yep.
Did you achieve a black belt or did you win a championship belt first?
No, I got
Because you don't have to be a
13 or
black.
14. I was I got my black belt. See, the thing is, I was already embarrassing men at 13 years old.
Yeah, I heard.
And my father was like, the guys were coming literally in tears. It was my father's students at his karate school. They were getting beat and they were crying. Grown men crying.
Yes,
Wow.
yes. I heard that. I heard that Joe Corley told me you were winning. You could have went in at 16 and won a light heavyweight kickboxing match against anybody.
Well, here's the funny thing. So I started. I really wanted this. I just love I just love to fight. I'd fight for a bag of M&Ms because I love M&Ms, but that's how much I love to fight. And I fought in Toledo, Ohio. This dude was bad. Tommy Richardson, a big black gentleman. He had shoulders that were just enormous. He had knocked out everyone. And so we're doing the stare down. I'm a pasty, white, skinny boy from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He's like, rubs my head. Okay, kid, this is your last. I'm going to knock you out, show you what the game is about. Well, it was a fight on ESPN, and I stuck to my guns, and he couldn't touch me, and I totally went out a point karate fight. I hit, move, and he couldn't catch me. And that I credit a lot of my success to the point karate circuit, without a doubt.
Yeah, but the point karate circuit for me did nothing when I got in the ring. It did nothing when I got in the ring.
Well, it was that initial step. If you go back and look at my fights, that initial step when a guy come to me, boom, hitting him. That initial step was
Oh,
knocking people out. That left hand, see, when that guy came to me, throw a kick or a punch, I'd beat him to punch or kick. Step across, you're coming to my land. I'm going to step in your land. You better not come to my land or else you're getting knocked out. And
let
they
me
got knocked out.
and let me ask you this right here. Most of that was because of your footwork. People think when you hit somebody with your hand, it's all hands. It's just like hand-eye coordination. But you
Right.
know, you had to be in the right position with me. You had to be there and ready to knock this guy out.
Right. But my thinking was not, okay, I'm going to throw a jab. I'm going to throw. No, I was always thinking 2, 3, 4, 5 steps ahead, going here, spin out, come back, do this, do that. Same thing like Lomachenko.
But one thing that make a champion, and I'm telling you this right now, is the work you put in on your own. And Rick, you were known for hard workout, hard training. I mean, you used to go what 6 weeks or 5? How many weeks did you train before a fight?
Oh God, if it was a big fight, 3 months.
And you had a whole team
Yes.
of people around you, and
Yeah.
you trained so hard that one time you told me, "Hey, Ernest, how can you train yourself? You need to get people around you to train like a professional." And I started doing that, and I still
I
do. I still
I think what opened my whole after the door shut in '94 for PK karate, unfortunately. Um, here I am, 27 years old, just beat the Iceman, the legend, and the ball gets dropped. So I picked it up, made some calls. I end up going to Palmer Park, Maryland. I ended up getting co-managed by my idol, Sugar Ray Leonard. I
yeah.
ended up getting his second trainer, Pep. Um, it changed my whole. Oh my God! Going to that gym every day, a new challenge. It went from gym champ to this contender, that contender. Every day was a new challenge, and I was stepped up. By the end of the week, they were selling tickets. It was in Palmer Park, the worst area you've ever seen in your life, been to. And by the end, it was they had bleachers in the main ring area where the nice gym, where the nice ring was, completely sold out. Wanted to see me get my ass just handed to me. Um, but it was a great experience. I remember that. Also, in Atlanta, they had that great gym, Midtown, Mike Morrison. That
Mike
one that was
Morrison.
upstairs, downstairs. Oh my God, the skill, the guys that were in there, the challenges, the sparring I had, it was sick. It brought my level to. That's what I loved. I loved fighting the best. I
Hey,
love being challenged.
and you was always in the top shape, man. Let me tell you
Yep.
something. This dude, hey Ray, this dude was muscle, six pack. I've never ever seen this dude when he was fighting out of shape.
Yep.
He was always training. He was always running, always knocking things around. So Rick, let me ask you this, Rick. What was your favorite place to fight
Huh.
and why?
Paris and Marseille. Paris, France, Marseille, France.
And why?
It was, I fought a lot of great legends there, a lot of great fighters.
I can see on your face you think about all the ones you knocked out too. I can see it.
No,
I can see it, Rick.
um, I'll go on record, and I've said it before. The best fighters, bar none, hands down, were the Dutch. So if you went 12 rounds, you better get ready for 24. You better ready for 36 because the Dutch, they ain't coming to quit. They are coming to take your head off. And if you weren't prepared mentally, emotionally, physically, cardiovascular, because they were a step ahead. cross the T, dot the I, punch, kick, kick, punch. They were just trained like that. I mean, God rest his soul. In 91, I fought Rob Kamen, a legend. And, and I ended up fighting him again in 94. Rob and I have history. I mean, that guy forever. I am so grateful that I got the opportunity to fight that guy. He was bar none a legend and a super, super human being. Nice guy. He was just, man, could he kick like a freaking mule? And I'm not kidding you. He kicked like a mule. I mean, when he kicked me, I thought he broke my freaking form. I'm not lying. He kicked like a mule.
So did y'all split, or did he ever beat you, or did you beat him?
No, I ended up winning 12-round unanimous, and then they wanted to run it back. We fought 94. I ended up KOing them in the second round. And over there, the crowds, there was 25, 30, 40,000 people at the fight.
Yeah.
Sold out. Marseille, 25, 30, 40, 50, sold out. I mean, and then they didn't like Americans, but me, I was brash. I was cocky. I was at that time on top of they loved me. And I became, overnight, it was incredible. I couldn't even walk the streets there. It was insane.
So that go with this question I got next. When did you become Rick the Jet Roufus?
Actually, my father gave me that name. My idol, which was Benny, fought in 1974 in Milwaukee at the Milwaukee Auditorium. It was the Chicago All-Stars versus the LA All-Stars. So LA brought Benny and Blinky and all his team to fight Chicago. My dad ended up fighting a continuous point karate match on the undercard. Benny fought Ken Kolodage, and he moved like a freaking jet. His shit was so fast, so quick, he was grease lightning. My dad said, "You are Rick the Jet."
I like it. I got a quick question about the Kamen fight in the first one, the controversial fourth round that ended 45 seconds early. What happened there?
I don't even know.
Because that's what set up the second fight that you sold 20,000 tickets for, and you ended up knocking him out in the second round. But you won. Supposedly, you dominated him 11 out of the 12 rounds.
But I ended up knocking him down. I did him a favor, or else I could have finished him in the fourth. I did the exact kick that Ernest was talking about in the show. I brought the leg up like I was going to push kick him.
Right.
Boop, turned into a round kick. He got back up, but I did him a favor. I mean, they did him a favor, so I don't know.
I don't know. They're saying something about it that round ended 45 seconds too early for some reason.
No, anyway. You had to see the fight, Big Ray.
And then also, and also Van Dam was there. He's running around ring. He's grabbed my pants. I'm in the corner. Yeah. My cornerman's like slapping me, going, "Listen, stop listening, guy." But Van Dam, Rick, you must keep your hands up. You must fight.
Yeah. Speaking of them, Van Dam, I know very well. Yes. Chuck Norris.
Yes.
Joe Rogan.
Yes.
Those guys say you are the baddest dude to ever fight, man.
Thank you.
In the mixed martial art, the kickboxing ring, when Chuck Norris said this is one bad dude, when Joe Rogan said this guy right here was just a little bit before his time.
Absolutely.
He should listen, bro. This is a bad dude. So, did you ever watch Chuck Norris fight? What interaction you had with Chuck Norris? I mean,
I ended up going. I met Chuck Norris many times. Great guy, classy gentleman. He's always taking a picture, signing an autograph. I went to. My father took me to USK Grand Nationals, 1977. That's when Good Guys Wear Black came out. I ended up taking third place. I took a picture with Chuck. It was a black and white. I remember that like yesterday. It was. Classy guy. He was always, but I have one beef, which I don't mean anything bad. It just
No,
he
go ahead. Go ahead and say it.
no, he always liked Dennis Alexio, and they always thought, he backed Dennis, and not financially, but just But here's the thing: I never ducked anyone. I fought the baddest dudes, and my record speaks volumes for it.
Absolutely.
I didn't knock guys out, pick them back up, let them revive themselves, and fight them again. Okay, that's what Dennis fought bums. Okay, Tijuana taxi cab driver. I'm sorry. I'm just calling it the way it is, telling it the way it is.
That's
By
hilarious.
the way, he's down here in Safford, Arizona, somewhere down by the border in jail till he's in his 70s.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. So do you watch any of the content fighting? Do you watch any of the fighting today?
Not really. I've watched, a lot of people have sent me, I was known for the kick punch, snap kick,
Oh
punch, all
yeah,
that stuff.
yes,
So
yes.
somebody send me from karate combat, people like do stuff like me, but I don't know. It's changed. Let me ask you this, do you watch wrestling?
Not much. Big
Yeah,
Ray.
same
Those are
here.
my
Same here.
eyeballs.
Same
But
here. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, it was sad Friday night, I gotta say, to watch Mike. I look at it from a different eye perspective. Like his timing, his footwork, his trying to get that distance to be able to put a glove on him just is gone. It wasn't there. It just
come on, but let me tell you something. Even right now, you're probably not in the same shape you was in. Neither am I.
yeah,
I'm older,
right.
but it's one thing I'll never forget to do is how to cut a ring off. I don't
Correct.
care how fast. He did not try to cut the ring off not one time. He
Correct.
didn't. He never tried to tie the guy up. He never tried to do any of the dirty stuff. That's why I say, was he really fighting or
He
was he
was
just
not.
following the script?
I don't know. It's just, man, the guy you grew up seeing in the 80s at the end, like he came on like a gangbuster. And then
And
you
he
look
slowed it
back,
down.
As soon as he did, bro, if you watched it back, I've watched it back twice. He
yes,
grabs him, pulls him to him, whispers something in his ear, and then you can see him immediately start biting his glove
But
because he.
the hell with Mike Tyson, we talking to the great Rick Rufus. That's
I
what
know
this is about.
he's
Fans,
pulling
listen,
punches.
you guys out there watching this, this is the baddest man to ever put on gloves right here.
I
I'm
wish,
telling
I
you.
wish,
We can't
honestly,
hold
he
up, Ray.
had.
Ray, can you not cut me off? Let me
I'm
finish
not,
saying
brother.
this.
I'm not. We
Listen,
had 15
listen.
minutes, and I
I'm
got you.
happy. I'm happy. I'm happy to have this legend on
For
my
sure. Of
podcast. This guy's on the
well,
cat's
thank you.
corner. And I'm gonna tell you this right here. I get kind of excited. Let me calm down. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Calm down.
So let me answer first, go back to your pre show before you brought me on. So I can explain that whole fiasco that happened with the leg kick, okay? So
Oh,
Karen Turner, who was the promoter for PK, she's a lady that was used to be with Scott Coker, John Worley, Pat Worley, the whole PK thing. She came to me and said, "Yeah, do you want to do an exhibition with a tie?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm PK. I never threw a leg kick in my life, so oh well, don't worry, we'll take care of it." So they brought Bill in because Bill was friends. So Bill was the captain, and he was going to make sure no leg kicks. So we get to the weigh-in, and it gets heated. It's push and shoving because I'm never in my life threw a leg kick, nor blocked a leg kick, nor even fought anyone in that style. I was the PK above the belt, shin guards, safety boot, long leg, long pants, excuse me. So, um, Bill said, we got to do this. I'm like, all right, so what? All right, well, how bad can it be? So here's the thing. In the second round, I broke that dude's jaw. How do you know? Because I was in the hospital. He was right next to me. He had all his people. He was next to me. He went on record and said I was the hardest puncher he ever fought in his life, bar none. Saxon threw a whole bucket of ice across the ring, bought him 2-3 minutes. So revamped him and was able to get that second win. And that's how he came out like gangbusters in the third, because he knew he was in for the fight of his life then. After I broke his jaw, I thought it was over. I mean, he had, at that time leading up, 5 major fouls. It should have been over. I mean, but it didn't.
Yeah.
So lo and behold, I mean, he does kick like a freaking mule. He had legs like a ox. And, he never damaged it. It was just the fatty behind your legs. That dude, he kicked freaking like a mule. He kicked hard.
Come back a little bit, Rick, so your camera can catch you.
Oh,
You
I'm
have
sorry.
the thing.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I'm sorry.
So Rick, let me tell you this right here. During the time you were fighting, man, it was dangerous to fight too, because you never know who these promoters were gonna put you in front of. They didn't always put you in front of guys you thought you were gonna fight. They didn't always they wasn't always in the up and up about the rules and the regulations that you guys were gonna have to fight under.
No, I think just because at that time there was a lull in the late 80s. That's when the PK split. Half went that way, half went that way. But then when Joe got things back on track, boom. It came out. I put the PK on my back in the 90s. I knew in Montreal, 92, Jersey Long, signed the contract. Boom, fought him. I knew opponents. There was no more games, no more switching, no more nothing. And that's the way it should be. I mean, the only other thing that wasn't like that, and it goes to your question, is when you're fighting in K1, you got 4 on each side. So you fight a tournament. So after your first fight, you're out there watching, trying to figure out, you could fight a total of 7 different opponents in the pool. Because if this guy wins or that guy wins, that guy, so you got to get ready. Tournaments are so different.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Tournaments are so different because you can't go out there throwing hard kicks and doing anything. You got to be patient. And if you see an opening, take it, get out of the first fight. Don't get injured. Go back, rest, get ready. Then you go back, say, okay, we're down to 4 guys. So which of these guys am I going to fight? Figure out. Tournaments, you're up, you're down, you're up. It's just crazy. Tournaments are a whole different animal.
So let me ask you about this tournament thing right here.
Right.
Which is the hardest, a tournament fight or just you fighting whoever you fighting, an opponent?
Good. That's a good question.
Because you got time. You got time to prepare for the one-on-one fight. But when you're in a tournament, you don't know who you're going to fight. You don't find out until maybe 30 minutes before you got to fight him?
Yeah, whoever wins. Yes. It's a different challenge in itself. I mean, it's but then it sets you apart and cements your legacy to show that you're able to adapt to different styles, fight different styles, and be able to come out and show that you're not a one-dimensional fighter. Because every guy you fought, you had Kyokushinkai, you had Dutch, you had French, you had Japanese, you had all American, you had all different fighters. Both of them. That's a great question. But I think they're 2 different entities, and I think they're both very hard. I mean, when I was fighting 12 rounds to defend the belt, 12 rounds times 2 minutes, 24 minutes plus a minute in between, 36 minutes. You had to be in queue. So think about that. You put 15, 20 weeks, you got to go, you're running. Certain days you're running, certain days you're doing uh, plyometric sprints. Certain days you're lifting, but you see, when I was lifting, it was all quick, explosive, nothing heavy, nothing. Um, and then you're in the gym. Certain days we'd spar every Tuesday and on a Saturday afternoon. It's just, yeah.
Okay, I got a good story. I want you to kind of tell me what you were thinking of. Tell me what you were thinking about this right here. So I had you won my first 3 amateur kickboxing fight, heavyweight fight. So Rick came to town for some reason. He was training in Atlanta. My coach, who is a big fan of Rick, David Adams, said, "Hey, let's take you up here. You gonna spar with Rick." Say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna show this guy something. I'm gonna show him something." So we got ready. We got in the ring together. And Rick was a champion then, right? You was a world champion then. So we got in the ring. And I used to handle people in the ring. I was big. I could move. I had a jab. I had everything. A 225-pound ex-NFL linebacker. Rick come out. I'm jabbing it. Bang, bang, bang. I'm looking good that first round. I'm looking good. He kind of get a little frustrated because that jab was in his face. He went in the corner and that coach or whoever over there with him said something. Rick came out, man, and I threw that jab, and it felt like I got hit by a car in the ribs.
Left hand.
I went down to the ground, and Rick was like, yes, yes, he was happy. I went down to the ground. I rolled out the ring. They said, "Where you going?" "I'm going to the car and get my gun. This guy ain't gonna hit me like that, get away with that." Hey, and then I was so mad at him when we left there. We went to like a Gold's Gym to work out. And when I walked in, Rick was there. I didn't even speak to him.
Sore loser.
Hey, we used to razz each other and play jokes, but that's what good friendships are, you know.
Absolutely.
Hey, bro, but listen, that was no joke when you hit me in the rib like
no
that.
Joke.
I've never.
Let's rewind quick. You threw a jab on my southpaw. Here, see, you push the hand here, punch to the rib. Point karate 101 there. Point karate 101. Right to the rib check. Oh, do you want those ribs back, by the way? Here you go.
Hey, by the way, listen. I've never been hit that hard in my life ever again. I said to myself, I said, before I said I could take a punch. So when I'm in the ring moving around, I'm looking at this guy. Even if he hit me, I can take it. But then I said, wait a minute. Why take a punch? I don't even want to get touched in this ring. I'm moving around the ring. I'm going to stay away from him, and I'm going to settle down, throw so many punches, he ain't going to be able to do anything. But that did not work against Rick. I've never been hit. And Rick, I was 220 or 230. Rick, you was about how much? 185? He was small.
179, 185, 190.
Lean. I've never been hit that hard before.
My question to you is, since you fought the National Point Karate Circuit and you've been in squared circle with a lot of point karate fighters, who would you say would be your toughest point karate fighter or challenge that you've ever fought yourself?
I would say Richard Pryor, the one we just had on.
Oh, really? Oh,
and the reason why, because he was tall, he had long legs, he had long reach. And he was smart, and he kept everything in tight. So when it came out at you, if you wasn't there, if he came once he let it go, you don't know the range. Yeah, he was very, very crafty,
cagey,
really smart fighter. He was the best. I fought Nasty Anderson. Rest in peace. But Nasty wasn't that hard because he was a bully, and I was a bully. You know, he was the one that
he overplayed the California Blitz.
Yeah. And I fought.
And if you could step in and block that back, because you knew he was coming back fist punch. If you could get in and block the back fist and jam him, he couldn't do nothing.
But could nobody stop Nasty Anderson? But I'm gonna tell you who I did fight and had a great fight with was Billy Blanks. And Billy was Billy was so talented and so athletic. This dude can jump up
I
and
know.
kick
I
and
know.
kick a
I know.
basketball rim.
Yes, I
I
know.
saw him do it. So
Yes.
his style of fighting was being like real bouncy. He'll jump high and try to come down.
Right.
But I
Yeah,
can't kick
that
a
dude was
basketball.
a freak.
Oh,
He
freak,
was
man.
a freak of nature. But the only thing, he that dude had skill, man. He had skill. He just couldn't take a punch. I've seen him get
He couldn't
knocked
take a
out,
punch. Yeah,
laid out bad, man.
he
Wow.
couldn't
That,
take a punch. But he
yeah.
knocked people out with the front
Yes,
hand
yes,
and
yes,
everything.
yes. Yep, yep.
So Rick, listen, I want to call out a couple of your championship homes. You got PKA,
Yep.
IKF, IXKA, FFM, and Kick. Which
Right.
one of those was your favorite sanction to fight in?
All of them. They all brought challenges. I can't favor one over the other. It was different times, different opponents, and uh, um, I always rose to the challenge, and I don't favor one over the other. The only thing that I do favor, I take that back. Winning, it was special because nobody thought I could cross over. Two things. I'm sorry. Two things would be winning the WBC Continental America's boxing belt, which is huge, huge. Going because they just thought you're some karate guy, couldn't punch. Um, that and then winning the K1, crossing over again because he's just PK fighter, you can't do it, blah blah blah. Yeah, I think those two would be the my favorite, most memorable belts because of what I was up against and the pressure that was on me.
Got a quick question about
Yes,
your
sir.
mixed martial arts career. Uh, do you wish you'd have started it earlier?
Yeah,
What?
absolutely. Because I was already late
Late 40s or
30s.
late?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And um, it's just okay.
Because I think
Imagine
you
everything.
could have really kicked some ass in that. Because I'm watching these guys and watching your old films, I'm thinking this shit was tailor made for you.
But imagine everything I took in at 4 years old. Okay, starting that came to me. I didn't have to think. Things happen just natural without. Now those guys, they come out the wrestling natural, the jujitsu natural. I mean, that shit. There's so many different transitions. It just was like, oh my! It was hard. It was and
Do
being
you watch UFC right now?
He just said no.
not really.
You don't watch it
No,
mixed martial arts?
no.
He said he don't watch it, Big Ray.
Well, I was going to ask you
If
who your
I had
favorite fighter is.
There's no
okay,
favorite out there.
if I watch someone, I don't watch it for the fight. I watch it because, like, one of my favorite fighters I really like to watch was Dominic Cruz because he moved a lot like me.
Absolutely.
He was in, he was out. He did broken rhythm. I loved his movement. It was just, it was sick. Because it reminded me a lot of me. I liked when Anthony Pettis. He was good in his day. Kick, punch, punch, kick. I liked uh, who else? Anderson Silva was unbelievable back in his day.
Yeah.
He was one of the only guys that was a true martial artist. I mean, these wrestlers and jiu-jitsu guys, they're only teaching a jab, cross hook, maybe a low kick, maybe. Their thing is they want you to close, take them to the ground right away. They don't give a shit. They just want to get you to the ground. And that's where it got.
It's kind of boring for you.
It was hard. It was
I think,
hard. It was
hey
just so overwhelming.
Rick, I think you would have still did well in that. You want me to tell you why? Because you had good movement. You had good movement. I got in the
Concrete in them
cage.
hands.
I got in a cage with a couple of guys before, and they thought they could take me down, but they couldn't because of my movement. And you had better movement than I did. So
Yeah, and then when I used the gloves, I felt naked.
yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so used to my whole life, my hands protected, taped and 16-ounce gloves when I'm training, 10-ounce when I fought. It just,
what about when they came and took me and you out to dinner?
Who, K1?
And they recruited me to
Master
go to
Ishii.
WC. Yeah, they recruited me to go to WCW.
Yes.
Who was it? It was me, you, Eric Bischoff.
Yes, Master Ishii.
Now, who is Master Ishii? Tell me about. He came in. Let me tell you how he came in first, though. This joker pulled up. We were sitting in a sushi restaurant. This guy pulled up in a black limo. 3 Asian guys get out, open his door.
Yeah, they were
and he
bodyguards.
Get out. Yeah, he get out with the dark shades
and
on.
they had black shades on.
Yeah, I was like, who the hell is this guy? And he walked in and sit down.
Ishii, and I spent a lot of time in Tokyo. I fought, 3-4 times over there. I also spent a whole month training there. Always stayed at the Takanawa Hotel. He did everything first class. He was such a super nice guy. You had to always, if you saw him, you pay your respect, bow to him, and all that. And he always had the 2 guards behind him, on the side of him, one behind him. It looked like one of those a movie. But he was the inventor. He got caught for, I think, tax evasion. He went to some hotel. I called a hotel, not jail, but he was in Club Med. He did his time, but all his money saved, and he's set for life. I think he's out, and he's now he lends out K1. What is that? He's renting it out, or
Lisa got the name.
Yeah,
the trademark.
That's it.
The trademark.
Yes. Yeah, Lisa's is out. Yep, and he gets paid for it. He gets paid.
Hey, this guy right here, the whole restaurant was shut down for him and Eric Bischoff. Him and Eric Bischoff were friends. I remember him saying he loved Rick. He was just talking about Rick. I want this. I mean, was he talking or was somebody else interpreting for him? I forgot.
Yeah, I think he had an interpreter. I mean, he could understand some, but he also had an interpreter there. So
this is how it was. They were trying to recruit Rick to K1 with him, and they were trying to recruit me to possibly K1 or to pro wrestling. And that when Eric Bischoff leaned over, he said, "You'll make more money with us right now." We was in that together. Matter of fact, Rick, you didn't know this, but you did know this. Eric wanted to pay millions of dollars to get you. I came to you and I said, "Hey, guess what, Rick? Eric Bischoff said he wants you. And it was like in 97 when it was hot. It was like in 97 when it was hot. Right? Yeah, but don't you remember when I came to you and I said, Rick, come on, man, you can come and work something with me.
Oh, Rick, he came to Atlanta. You know why? Because he won me a fight 97 when I fought Jerome Banter.
Oh.
Yep. That's why he came to Atlanta.
He turned Eric Bischoff down, people. Rick Roufus, that's a bad man. He told Eric, no, keep your money. I don't want to do anything in wrestling.
But he just said he wished he'd have done it now. Yeah. Looking back.
Hey, but with his career, you don't have to look back and wish he had done. He did exactly what God put in his life to do.
Absolutely.
He's a legend. Listen, when you got Joe Rogan saying you the baddest guy, you was a little bit ahead of your time, but you could beat anybody. They say he was
Joe
tough.
Rogan is one of the most unbelievable. He's a smart guy, very knowledgeable, knows the game, knows how to call it. He's a great guy. He's come to Arizona here. I was supposed to work with him and his child. He came back. He gave me tickets to his comedy show. He's a class act. He's a great guy. I can't say enough good things about Joe.
Hey, those 3 guys in Van Dam wanted to dance with you.
Mm-hmm.
Who was it? Oh God! You know who's trying to get him in the ring? Last year, 2 years ago, when I was doing with PK with Joe, Don Wilson has been wanting to fight Van Dam.
Van Dam is not a fighter, though. People don't know.
But he's just got a heart on. He wanted to get him in the ring and show everyone that he's not a real fighter.
Now, what kind of fighter was he? Don Woodson. What kind of fighter was he?
He fought in the WK. He was very pragmatic, very boring. I don't know. It's just one of the all-time most boringest fights I probably ever saw with him was in Montreal because I used it to study. I couldn't watch it anymore. When I fought Terrio, I watched Wilson to see what he did. Um, yeah, he was just not the prettiest, but he won. Very boring, but he won.
Let me call out a couple of names for you. Tell me what you think about these guys. No, just one really. What about Ernesto Hoost? Did you ever fight him?
Yeah, we're 1-1.
Man, that
Nice
dude
guy.
won. Oh man, that
Yeah,
dude was
he's
a
nice guy.
beast.
He's yeah, another guy kicked like a freaking mill. He kicks. Yeah, them. I'm telling you, Dutch are made different. They are. I'm the only American that was able to go across the ocean and have success. No other Americans have. Now, what's sad, it's regressed where our sport is. Glory only does shows in Europe now. They won't even bring American fighters there because they said we ain't paying for a guy. All this money, bring them over here, pay them, put them up, and they fall down and they quit and they won't fight. Nah, we ain't bringing no more Americans here because they all quit. They embarrass America and they embarrass themselves. It's bad.
I got one name. What about Steven Seagal? What do you think about that guy?
I mean, all I know is from the movies. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if he would even be. I don't know. I mean,
I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he sucked. I think he just, I don't know, made
I
up.
think he spends a lot of time here in Arizona doing stuff, or I don't know. I've seen him out here. I don't know. It's been a while, but different guy.
He's very
He's
strange.
different. He's just straight. I don't think he's as bad as he wants you to believe.
Well,
He
I'm
was
glad you
skinny
just
as
didn't beat up the cat, so we could actually
What?
have this
Hey, what
podcast.
about what about Michael J. White? You remember him, Rick?
looks great for the movies. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
but as far as like what you and I did, I can't
Mm.
comment because I
We
don't know what he
never.
can do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, how about this right here? How about who else? Rick? Who else? Ray? Who else you want to talk about out there on TV? Jackie. How
Man,
about Jackie Chan?
He's a good actor. Makes movies funny. Him and Chris Tucker.
Jet Li. What about Jet
Which
Li?
one of y'all kicked me?
Yeah, which one do you kick me? How come you didn't tell me Ricky Tan rolled like that?
so,
Jet
so,
Jet Li, yeah, he's another good actor. I
so
mean,
they are. Yeah.
what's crazy is in the 80s, 90s, there were lots of Chuck Norris movies, there were Van Damme movies, but now, and then Karate Kid. And now it's kind of, I don't know, I think 92 it started, but 98, UFC changed the game.
Yeah, I mean, you still have that
And
Netflix special with the Karate Kid guys on there redoing the remake and all that stuff, and it's really popular. There's a lot of people
right,
watching that. But
right.
I agree with you. The UFC
But
is kind of taken over.
But
Ray,
you know
let the
what?
man talk.
Martial arts studios, martial arts itself is not like when we were kids growing up. It's all changed. It's different now since UFC came on. I could be wrong. I'm just speaking my onions. I'm telling you what I feel, what I think. Um, I just think now, you've got kids coming out of high school, wrestlers or college. Hey, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can go right to UFC. Maybe I can start fighting. I mean, um, I don't know. It's just that's why after PK died, what was I going to? I mean, I love to fight. That's what I know. I was born. That's why I went to boxing, sought out Ray, got Ray, and then I went to and then Ishii came and met Ernest and I in Atlanta, and I went back to K1. I mean, I don't know. But if UFC when they came along, who knows where PK would be? Who knows where K1 would be? I don't know.
Yeah. I guess we'll never really know. Did you spend any time in North Carolina?
No.
No time in North. That's where I'm from. And I know a couple of karate guys out
That's
here.
where or no, is he Johnny Davis, South Carolina? Or no,
I think Johnny Davis is South Carolina.
Okay.
John Maynard is the guy that I trained with at Champion.
Who?
John Maynard. He was from West Virginia. He was PK.
Oh,
He was
okay.
karate guy.
Okay.
He's Superfoot. You know, Bill Wallace, and then Joe Lewis. We're a Joe Lewis fighting system.
Right.
So if you know anything about Joe, I'm sure you know
speaking of
Joe
Bill
Lewis.
Wallace, it's crazy. I mean, he'll still go and do PKA seminars, and people pay for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy.
Did you know Joe Lewis?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's our fighting system at our
back in the day when my father's PKA fight sanction chairman, he'd go all the fights. He'd have to be there. So I'd be around the game, and I'd always go up to like Joe, Bill. Hey, Mr. Lewis, can I work your corner, please? Can I carry your bucket? I'd be in the corner all around the fight game, getting to know it, seeing all the ins and outs. I just love to be around it. And I worked with Joe.
Such a great guy.
Yeah, he was. He was a great guy. Funny as shit.
Mm-hmm.
He fought. He fought Randall Tex Cobb or Charlton Young in Atlanta. Yeah.
I think he fought both of those guys.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Well, Rick, I tell you, brother, it's been fun, man, and
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed finding out, man. I got a whole page of questions I didn't even get to, but we've been knowing each other. We've known each other for many years,
yes,
and man, you like family, and I know I want to have you on again, and talk some more fight stuff.
It's my pleasure to meet you, sir. And
it was my pleasure to be on your show.
Much respect to you, sir. You've had a hell of a career, and
thank you.
Concrete in both hands and them feet. So you're legit. I wish you'd have got Ernest a little harder than just in them ribs. I wish you'd have got them lips, smashed them lips up a little bit because he talks too much. But I'm glad that you were on the show with us today, and I think our fans are going to learn a lot about Rick the Jet Roufus, brother.
Thank you. I am grateful and thankful, and I appreciate you guys having me on today. It means a lot. And Ernest, a brother like no other. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Hey, Chuck Norris said this is one bad man. Joe Rogan said he is the baddest.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. Well, thank you guys for coming on, and we'll catch you next time here on the Cat's Corner podcast. For Ernest the Cat, I am Big Shug, and we are with Rick the Jet Roufus. Easy for me to say. Thanks for coming on. Have a great night.